Well, I want to put out this video to give you a very important single type of strategy to really destroy gun control in New Jersey, New York, and California. And I know those aren't the only states that have major problems with too much gun control. And I want to put people to know that in April 19th, 1775, the shot heard around the world in Massachusetts when the British tried to seize American guns. Now, obviously, Massachusetts is quite different today. It's gone full circle, and everybody is very much, subservient, the law-abiding, quote unquote, subservient to the government. The American revolutionaries were not law-abiding. The Confederate secessionists were law-abiding, but they lost in their move for Southern independence. But that was not over guns; it was over taxes. But that's really part of the deal. When people are looking for power, they do it for certain ways, and one is through gun control. I know, like, one of the things that you hear sometimes is that the well-armed populace could also be used as an army against an invading power. But the way I look at it is they want to really, if there's something plans by the people on the top that have an insatiable appetite for more and more. If there was ever something in the United States where they wanted to take over the United States, I could guarantee you the game plan would not be to destroy the real estate. It would be to control the people one way or the other and make use out of them because they're an asset too. It's the modern day slavery. So one of the ways you can control people first is disarm them. And the other way is probably the more efficient. Well, I don't want to get into that too much because YouTube don't like some of the stuff I put out here. But actually, one of the things, if you ever had a war in the United States from a foreign power, I think one of the main strategies they would use is biological weapons and trying to break down society where Americans fight each other. But, that's kind of going on another tangent, so I won't go down that rabbit hole too far because just want to warn you, some of the classic fear-mongering Red Dawn videos. Remember that Red Dawn movie? I didn't even watch the whole damn thing. It was out many, many years ago. I don't think a scenario like that would happen in the United States, unless, of course, the United States is already disarmed. But it's a matter, because I know sometimes people in their mind think that's one reason we have weapons. Yeah, in a way, but also it's really we got to fear our own people on the top in government because they're the control freaks. To be compliant with every rule is actually the wrong thing to do. Although, if you're not compliant with every rule, they'll hammer the crap out of you if caught. So, but the thing is, when they're making up these rules, they are violating your rights. So here's the strategy. The strategy, first, in most of the states in this country, even the states that have a lot of gun control, except for there's a few states that have a lot of gun control and don't have this, in their state constitution, they have it specifically stated what is guaranteed by the state constitution. In other words, in Alabama, that every citizen has a right to bear arms in defense of himself and the state. And that's my cat going meow meow, Mr. freaking Goldie. In Alaska, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. He's charging something right now. That's what he's doing. You hear that crazy cat in the background. It's just messing around with my video here. But anyway, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's right there in the state constitution. That's a very, very important point. And there's 4 states that I saw that don't have this. One's California. No provision. Like in Arkansas, right above it, you can see Arkansas. The citizens of the state shall have the right to keep arms for their common defense. Colorado, the right of no person to keep and bear arms in defense of his home and property or in aid of civil power when retro legally summoned shall be called into question but nothing herein contained shall be construed to justify the practice of carrying concealed weapons. Oh, God. They're against concealed weapons in Colorado, I guess. Anyway. Florida. The right of the people to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves and of the lawful authority of the state shall not be infringed, except that the manner of bearing arms may be regulated by law. So I guess they're saying like open carry or something, whatever the hell. Florida's a little more complicated. Georgia, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, but the General Assembly shall have power to prescribe the manner in which arms may be borne. Even Hawaii, which has a lot of gun control, the well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's actually when Hawaii was admitted into the United States. They took it verbatim from the Second Amendment. But at least it's there. Actually, Idaho to even have self-defense right protected in its case law. In some cases, they have, what you really want here. This surprised me. Iowa's got no provision. That's one of the 4 states. Now, they're not too bad on gun control, but they ought to get on the ball and fix that crap before it becomes a problem. Because when you have it embodied in state law, in the state constitution, like the right of the people to bear arms for defense of themselves and the state, like in Indiana, that helps a lot. That helps a lot. West Virginia actually is a damn good one too. West Virginia really freaky. There's a lot of them actually. See, Maine, every citizen has a right to keep and bear arms, and this right shall not be questioned. Actually, when you're talking about the three of the most northern states, New York State would be fine if it wasn't for New York City as far as rights go. But when you're talking about upper New England, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, they're not too bad. I mean, they're really pretty good. It's not like your typical Yankee stuff that a lot of Southerners sometimes look the Yankees this and the Yankees that. I can tell you, when you get up there, because I'm from up north. When I was up in New Jersey, I used to really like New Hampshire the best. Yeah, I like Maine too. Vermont is good, but there's an influx of New Yorkers in there. That's what's kind of dangerous. But because it's close to New York, right? They all go up there because they got the skiing lodge and crap. But what you really need to do is, so California, you can see no provision. Iowa, no provision. But, California, you could see part of the problem they got, And California has got so much open land, and it's like, God, people, I don't know what they get an image on YouTube or on television or in the movies about California, because I lived out in California almost 4 years, right? California's got it's got loads of open land. I mean, it's amazing they got so much stupid gun control there now. It's amazing. I mean, if they have gun control, maybe they'll just stick it in a couple of the major cities or something. I don't even know why they have gun control at all out in the open land. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. New Jersey, no provision. There you go. New Jersey, I don't think ever had a provision to keep let its citizens have guaranteed their rights to weapons. I don't think they ever did. The first, second, and third constitutions in New Jersey, I think the first constitution said something about the militia, but it didn't say anything about it. It was more about organizing a militia. It wasn't saying about the people's right to bear arms shall not be infringed. It didn't say anything like that. It was more about the militia. That was the first New Jersey Constitution, first one. I'm talking in 1789. Then in 1844 they dropped that. Then in 1947 it wasn't there either. So New Hampshire, all persons have the right to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves, families, their property, and the state. See, that's a really good one. That's what you really want. See, New Jersey, New York, and California, you got to copy New Hampshire's clause, right? Verbatim. Don't even copy the Second Amendment. Copy New Hampshire's clause. All persons, and just keep it simple. This was enacted in 1982, too, so it wasn't. See, New Hampshire's. I always had a lot of respect for New Hampshire. You could say it's a Yankee state, but it's live free or die. I really do like that place. I like that place a lot. It's a good place. All persons have the right to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves, their families, their property, and the state. Actually, I wish that's the way the freaking Second Amendment read, with the freaking well-regulated militia, because the well-regulated militia was actually the clause they put in the Second Amendment because they had a fear of standing armies, and the defense of the nation was not supposed to be you're in a green uniform and you're on a government grain paycheck, the direct deposit, and you are part of the apparatus that's being controlled behind the scenes by the Council on Foreign Relations Policies and the big money. That's exactly not what our founding fathers wanted. But they put in the Second Amendment about the well-regulated militia being all the people, which actually is not the Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Air Force, and the Marine Corps. It's us, the people. Us, the people. That's why I'm not even that keen on a lot of the freaking militaries. I mean, unless you're first or second termer. But if you're a lifer, I'm not really too keen on you, to tell you the truth. A lot of lifers aren't that great. So, New Jersey, you got no provision. You see above New Hampshire. Stick this in your law, and then, you'll fix that. New York, no provision. No provision. That's ridiculous. See, New Mexico, see New York. Look at New Mexico right above you. No law shall abridge the right of the citizens to keep and bear arms for security, defense, for lawful hunting, recreation use, and other lawful purposes, but nothing be held to permit the carrying of concealed. Nothing herein be held to permit the carrying of concealed weapons. No municipality or county shall regulate in any way an incident of the right or to keep and bear arms. Oh, that's pretty freaking strong, man. So, New Mexico, that's another clause you need to stick in your law. Take the New Hampshire law and then add this. No municipality or county shall regulate in any way an incident of the right to keep and bear arms. You add that into the New Hampshire clause in the constitutions of California, New Jersey, New York, and you say all persons have the right to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves, their families, their properties, and the state. Then go and add this second line: no municipality or county shall regulate in any way an incident of the right to keep and bear arms. This way, you'll screw up all the cities from freaking passing dumb laws. Anyway, people want to do a crime, they're going to do it, man. I mean, you could take, a leaf spring out of an old car, and you can make yourself a big giant sword out of it, and it's pretty quiet. It's probably a better tool for an assailant that's going to mug somebody than a pistol. I can guarantee that right now. So it's just the way it is, man. You just can't freaking stop people from doing stuff. If they're going to commit a crime, they're going to commit a crime. I mean, it's like you can't. I don't even want to use the word crime. If you're going to be immoral and you're going to do bad things, you can't make a person not be immoral. The only thing the law is supposed to do is protect people's inherent rights where other people are violating those rights, which is the right to liberty and economic freedom, pursuit of happiness, and the right. It's not actually enforcing morality per se. I want to get down a little ways because there's a lot of them here, and I look at I think West Virginia is near the bottom. It's not very, an alphabet, Actually, South Carolina is pretty good. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, as in times of peace. Armies are dangerous to liberty. See, they're spelling out what the actual Second Amendment means. As in times of peace, armies are dangerous to liberty, including people retired in the military, they're dangerous to liberty because all they know is dumb freaking rules because that's how they got to be retired. You know, they shall not be maintained without the consent of the General Assembly. Aha. Ugh. You know, to cut all those jackasses off. The military power of the state shall always be held in subordination to the civil authority and governed by it. Yeah, it sounds pretty good to me. Tennessee, the citizens of the state have a right to keep and bear arms for their common defense. But the legislature shall have the power by law to regulate the wearing of arms with a view to prevent crime. I don't know what the hell they mean by that exactly. If you wear arms, you're going to do a crime. Anyway, I'm pretty open-minded with this crap, to tell you the truth. It's like, I don't know. But then again, who knows? Maybe I'm too liberal in some ways. You know, in a way where liberal really means. Like liberal means anybody can do what the hell they want, right? It's pretty much. See, West Virginia is pretty good. Is very good. A person has the right to keep and bear arms for the defense of self, family, and home, and state, and for lawful hunting and recreational use. Self-defense is right explicitly protected, just like in New Hampshire. So, Wyoming, the right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and of the state shall not be denied. Wisconsin, the people have the right to keep and bear arms for security, defense, hunting, recreation, and any other lawful purpose. See, these are better ones because self-defense right is explicitly protected. You know, it's a shame they didn't add that to the Second Amendment, but if you really read what the founding fathers wrote everywhere else about standing armies, the danger of standing armies, and what we should utilize for our defense of our nation, being the population itself is the militia, is the army, all the population, not some direct deposit in a green uniform controlled by the politically correct, bureaucrats in Washington D.C. that are part of the government, that are of the government. That's why they put in there, the well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. They're not talking. They're actually way anti-standing army in that statement. But I know what the pinheads have done in, the brothers and sisters of the robes, how they have interpreted that stuff to be something else. Basically, succinctly, is that the brothers and sisters of the robes that misinterpret the Second Amendment, they're not misinterpreting it. They're flat out lying. They damn well know because it's written everywhere. The reason they're writing this stuff up, the well-regulated militia. See, here in Virginia, they really spell it out. That a well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people trained to arms is the proper, natural, and safe defense of a free state. See, in other words, they're really outlining it. And, if you look at everything the Founding Fathers said, that's exactly what they said they meant with the Second Amendment. It's all the people. See, here Virginia's spelling it out. Therefore, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. They're spelling out the Second Amendment. That standing armies in times of peace should be avoided as dangerous to liberty, and that in all cases the military should be under strict subordination to and governed by the civil power. See, actually, standing armies and actually retired yo-yos that came out of the standing army that are still on their retired direct deposit, they're just as bad as the blatant Hillary Clinton communists because they're nothing but a bunch of damn rule freaks. And 99% of those rules out there are flat out against the Constitution of the United States. But, how these yo-yos in the military get by, and they get their 20, 30 years it's exactly what they do. They play the rules. They play the rules and they play the system as much as possible. I got to add that in there because a lot of times people look at somebody that's been in law enforcement or the military for 20, 30 years. I mean, not saying they're all bad, but a lot of times they are bad too. A lot of times they're bad. Our Constitution, in the United States, wasn't about being subservient to the military and law enforcement. I mean, that sounds like a pretty extreme statement in today, but honestly, that's exactly, even law enforcement is like a standing army of the state. That's exactly what it is. I mean, in theory, on the cars and stuff, they'll tell you we're here to protect the people and all this kind of crap, to protect and serve. But it's like, in reality, if you're looking at the money, who pays, where all the money's coming from? Yeah, it's coming from the taxpayer, but even law enforcement, they answer to what the people, the city councilman, the DA, and all that kind of shit, district attorney. They got a lot of centralized big brother control too. And of course, the military, even if they don't like something, if they're ordered to do it, they're going to do it. Especially the ones that have been in a long time, because those are the ones that already are sellouts. And if they're retired, I can guarantee you they're sellouts. They're sellouts. That's exactly the other type that our Constitution's against. So, if you really want to, and so don't, I mean, sometimes people put all their faith in, I mean, some of these people are really good. You see them on YouTube. They were in the military or they were in law enforcement many years, and they're trying to protect the Second Amendment. But don't put all your faith in those guys. Think for yourself. It's not, our nation was not founded upon you looking at somebody in a uniform that had the authority and was being paid for by the state or the federal government for umpteen years to protect your rights. You protect your rights. You protect your rights. It's your God-given right. That's all there is to it. And if they come out with picayune rules, just remember they're the enemy. Don't tell them nothing. I'm telling you right now, because one of these days, I think the United States is going to be, after I think an economic collapse, the United States is actually going to be under an international body, and they're going to tell you that all Americans that own a gun, it's illegal to own one. And I have to go right back to this. April 19, 1775, the shot heard around the world when the British tried to seize American guns. But they're actually kind of doing this in New York, New Jersey, and California, and Washington, D.C., and Massachusetts, Connecticut, and other places all over the place. It's not, they're wrong. They're wrong. And, but the best strategy to fix some of probably the three worst states for gun control, which is, I personally put New Jersey as the worst one. I know some people put New York as worse than New Jersey, but New Jersey has its firearms. I still got my firearms ID card from decades ago. It's likely still good. There's no expiration date on it. It's got your thumbprint and all that crap. I mean, I'm all in the clear on that shit. If I was going to go back to New Jersey and get a driver's license, I got my firearms ID card anyway. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem getting one or anything, but I mean, I already got it. I still got it. But my point is on this, I'm not applying to my situation. I'm applying it to, I'm giving this for everybody. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, people got to watch where they're thinking, the military's going to fix this or this cop is going to fix this. Yeah, some of them are good. But, that's not a, it wasn't, the shot heard around the world didn't come because, somebody from King George was siding with the colonists. No, it didn't happen that way. Because eventually I think there's going to be an international law that is going to supersede our Constitution. And you're going to watch all these people freaking bowl over like bowling pins, especially in the military and the police force, because they'll be saying, well, we got to comply because that's what guarantees our paycheck. I'm telling you right now, that's exactly what these yo-yos are. Right, Mr. and Mrs. YouTube? But I'm telling you, the people. You, the people. So don't put too much faith in them. I mean, yeah, some of them are good people, but not all of them are. And a lot of it, when it comes right down to it, the long-term people in the police and the military, they're more, they'll keep their checks and pensions and bennies going first over protecting people's rights, generally speaking. Very few of them will fall on their sword, because they would have fell on their sword a long time before they got their 20 years. I guarantee that right now.